and I am back with another speed build. So this time we are going to be building a modern base game home, and the reason is because I thought that because of the amount of requests I've been getting to do it, it would just be a really fun, interesting thing, and I wanted to share it with you. But I had a lot of requests as well not to do it, and the reason is because I think that a lot of you didn't think that it was possible to make a nice modern home with the base game stuff, and I took it as a challenge, and I really hope that you like this build. It is going to be called Diamonds Drive, and the reason is because it's named after one of my supporters, Simming Wonder, who has been commenting on a lot of my videos, and I really appreciate it. They asked me if I'd be up for naming a house after them, and of course I did. I really do love when I see the same faces on my videos each time. I just really love that, and it just gives me a chance to get to know all the different personalities that comment, and I just really appreciate that. So anyway, this is going to be for them, so I really hope that you like it, and if you want a build named after you, one of your friends or family members, then just let me know on this video, because I'll be picking my next build name really soon, and I definitely need more names. Even though I have quite a few at the moment, it's always lovely to get more names, because sometimes the names that I have don't fit a certain build, and sometimes, I don't know, I think certain names fit certain builds. But yeah, so anyway, this house took me 25 minutes to build. I think it was actually 24 minutes, but not being precise at all there. But yeah, it didn't take me very long to build at all, and it was a very fun house to build. I think the reason why it didn't take me that long is because I have been practicing a lot recently, and that's something that's just very handy in doing. And if you are worried about how long your builds are taking, because I sometimes get comments saying, oh, how can you build this quickly, because a build like this would take me maybe a day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week. And honestly, I would say that it's just practice. And my first house that I ever built on The Sims 4 took me about 4 or 5 hours to build, and I was there for a very long time. I was getting really frustrated, and it was only really until I practiced a lot that I became very quick at it. And if you do want to see my first house that I ever built on The Sims 4, it's not on The Sims 4 gallery anymore, it's only on Twitter. So if you want to see a picture, you'll have to go find me on Twitter. I think it's Hatty_Sims. And that's how you find my username. If it's not that, then it will be in the description below, and you can go and find me off there. But yeah, so go and have a look on Twitter if you are curious to what my first house that I ever built in the game was. It was actually a Tudor home, believe it or not. I was trying to style it off the house that I lived in, but it was a completely different colour. It was actually an orange colour. So yeah, pretty interesting. Anyway, at this point, I was trying to play around with the colours. I was playing around with the colours, like a dark silvery colour, and then a lighter silver, and then a white colour. I thought that they would be really lovely, and they would contrast each other, and it would look very modern in the way that it did look very staggered, and it looked as if it had been layered. And I think that's what modern architecture is all about nowadays. When I look at German architecture, things like that, the really modern German builds, and I only say German because I live in Germany, so it's very difficult at the moment for me to look at anything else other than modern builds that are German. But yeah, so when I think about those, I just think about the idea of them being very matched, and I think that this home is very matching. I was also playing around with the pillars. I was really wishing that we did have pillars for the roofing as well. I would love the idea of having roofing pillars which would adjust to the roof as soon as you put the roofing on. I thought that that would be a really good idea, but unfortunately we can't have that. I actually got a lot of ideas for The Sims 4 whilst I was doing this. Not really big features, but just small features which I really do feel like would improve gameplay. One of the things which I really dislike about The Sims 4, and I only found out this whilst I was building this house, is when you start to filter out base game furniture. If you duplicate an item, it automatically takes the whole grid off, so you won't be able to filter it out again unless you do it manually. And that's something which was just so frustrating, because I duplicate loads of items to save me time. Every single time I was duplicating something, it was resetting the grid, and it would mean that I would have to filter out base game items altogether and start all over again. And it might not seem like a big deal, but I probably had to do it about 50 times during this video, maybe even more than that. And that was just for the exterior, because I like to use the same sort of plants same pillars, same wallpapers, just anything you can think of. And sometimes I did it twice, so not even just once for each individual object, sometimes I just did it twice. So yeah, that was happening. So if you do see it pop up that there are some stuff from New Romantic Stuff Pack just in the bar below, that is the reason why. So I really do hope that they'll fix that, because it is a little bit of an issue, and it does also mean that for players like me that do want to do base game houses or maybe even communal lots, just using certain packs, it's so difficult to follow, especially if you are duplicating items, and duplicating items does make things a lot quicker. So yeah, what I was doing is I was going around the side here, I was putting in these modernised windows. I really loved them. I thought that they looked good, and also I thought when I was doing the interior of the home, they really helped. And yes, I have done the interior. In fact, I'm going to be sharing it maybe a few days after this video comes out, so you'll be seeing that really soon. But I actually did the interior straight after I did the video, and the reason is because I'm pre-recording a lot of videos before I go away on my holidays. I have decided with my fiance that we're going to go on a cruise for our honeymoon, and I'm really excited for it. But that of course means that by doing that, it will just mean that a lot of my videos will be pre-recorded. So sometimes I will have done the interior whilst I have shared the video of the exterior, and that will just be something that will be happening in the next couple of weeks. But I'm hoping that eventually that will go back to normal after I'm back. And that will also mean around that time I will be able to get a proper schedule together, which will be up on Twitter when that happens, and that will tell you when my videos will be coming out and on which days and stuff. But anyway, what I was doing is I was putting in some landscaping at the front here. I went with the green look because I thought that green really did feel like a modern build to me. I thought using many colours of different plants wouldn't look very good on this build, and I think a many coloured plant build would feel to me like a family home or maybe a grandma's cottage, something like that. And I have actually got one of those coming up, so hopefully I will be sharing it potentially after this one, I don't know. But yeah, so what I was doing is I was going round and I was putting in these hedges. I love using these hedges, and also I think they look very neat when they're used together like this. I also like the idea that they don't interfere with the inside, and sometimes plants do have that effect. But I like the fact that these don't, and it just means that it's just so much easier going on to do the interior. I don't have to start moving things back or anything. I was then doing the garden. I never realised that this fence was base game, but I was extremely happy to find out that it was. And I used this all the way around, and I had the garden being a little bit higher, a little bit more private, and I really like that effect for a garden because I think that's a lovely look to a garden area. And I also think that for this garden area being a modern home, I feel as if it would be very accurate for a modern house to be closer together to other modern homes, because lots of these houses are built on estates or places that there will be loads and loads of houses surrounding it. I don't even know if that's a definition of an estate, I'm not sure. But yeah, so to me, a modern house would have to be private, and because of the lack of space that would be around it, so if it was very close together with other houses, this would just make a lot of sense to have a tall fence to make it a little bit more private, even though it is glass, so you could probably see through it. Or maybe you couldn't see through it, maybe people could just see out of it, I don't know. But yeah, so I was thinking about that, and I like to make my homes as accurate as I possibly can. I also thought having a children's climbing frame in the back would be a nice feature to the garden, and I thought that having the clear white sort of look made it look quite modern as well. I didn't want to go for the big modern feature because I didn't want to make the house itself too expensive. I think the house itself ends up being about 150,000, which is probably one of my cheapest homes to date because I don't often create cheap houses, and that is just not something that I do because I don't pay attention to budgets. That's the only thing. And with this home I did try carefully to do that, and I think that for a home which would be carefully built up from the start, and maybe it wasn't a starter home, maybe it'd be a couple of homes down the line, and this would be a perfect family home for a family that did have a little bit of money. But that is the end of the build, so I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all for part 2. Thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you all soon.